Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Art Malkov on the line. He's Chief Digital Officer over at blockchaindriven.com. Art, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here, Adam. I heard a lot about your podcast, and so glad to be here.
Oh, man, so excited to get into today's show topic. So we're going to get into how the blockchain space looks now versus boom time, how people can break into a career in blockchain. I mean, a lot of interesting topics for us to cover. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit more about what you're doing over at blockchaindriven.com. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So Blockchain Driven is a company that builds custom blockchains. So we advise companies from mid-size to enterprise to occasional startups on how to build in this new technology, blockchain. Most people still pretty confused about it. So we're constantly educating the companies on how they can use it, and also so they have realistic understanding of how to actually use technology versus what they think is possible. Because there's a lot of misnomers in the space, and hopefully today we can clear up some of those.
So a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives listening from different size companies and industries. What are the right types of companies and or industries that you like working with most?
Well, we see at the moment the most logistics, finance, and healthcare, security. So those tend to be the ones that tend to adapt a little faster in blockchain. And I wouldn't say I like the most to be working with them. I think if you have a good idea and you have a proper, and you think it could be used in a blockchain, I would say do a little bit of research on your own. But then if you think it's viable, then, you can ask us and we can help you guide from there, from concept to literally building out the entire blockchain framework.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I'm glad you provide that context. I think I might have teed that up wrong. I didn't mean to say who you like working with most. I mean to say who you've worked with, done a lot of work with, because I've seen a lot of interesting developments. Everything from I interviewed somebody the other day who they were changing basically their goal was the diamond industry and registering diamonds, and they had a really unique concept around it, and it was just an amazing thing that they launched. And I'm just like, so just throwing that out there for everybody listening. That was a bad position on my question. Art,
yeah,
I do want to get into today's topic though, so let's get into how the blockchain space looks now versus boom time. So give us an update maybe on the overall market first to start out.
Absolutely. So most people have heard about blockchain during the peak of 2017 and 18, when the cryptocurrency went from $18 billion market to $840 billion market. That's in 1 year. So that's an increase of 40x times in 1 year.
Oof, a lot of money.
That is insane amount of money, and insane. And we were part of it. Like I remember. We were from the very beginning in there, and in fact, in New York we have a big blockchain community, and we were one of the first to host events. Wow. And I remember we were selling out 2 weeks in advance for tickets. People were going to us and saying, "Hey, do you have any more tickets for this blockchain event?" And we say, "We literally just hit a capacity, and it's 150 people, and we're done. And we can't. It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks away, and it was very...
Which that happens exactly 0 times if you're not like... So, no offense, that doesn't happen in very many industries. I've never heard of that.
It doesn't, and it was very adaptive times where at the time most people didn't really have the blockchain projects, but everybody heard there is money to be made. So in 2017 and 18, it really was more of a concept for blockchain, but it wasn't not that many actual projects. And what we have seen since then is constant growth of and adoption of larger companies of blockchain technology. They're exploring it, looking into it. So where I would say in 2017 it was wild west of blockchain. There was crazy ICOs and other insane ways. And to your listeners, please don't listen to the scams. If you hear about another ICO, please ignore it. For the most part, it's all BS. But now we're actually entering a space where blockchain technology is being integrated into an actual company stacks, technology stacks. So it's it's not a standalone technology. It's a technology can go on top of, as a layer on top of your other technology. And LinkedIn did a study in this January, 2020, and they said that this was based on their studies and what they see how companies are hiring and spending money. Blockchain skill was number one skill for 2020 by LinkedIn study, more than AI or data science or UX design. So this is something that companies realizing it's not a fad, it's a real thing to say. We're not talking about trading crypto. We're not talking about here, finance. We're talking about technologies, projects. For example, we're now working on a big healthcare project in blockchain, and they have nothing to do with coins or anything. It's purely a supply chain project that uses blockchain technology to really improve how it works, because technology in healthcare is still 70s, 80s, and they're not just jumping, one step over. They jumping multiple steps, 5-10 steps ahead of themselves. So it's a real evolution, a real value of technology that we're seeing. And Walmart, IBM, Deloitte, Amazon, they're all thinking, exploring blockchain as a solution to different problems.
Man, that's awesome. And let's spend some time on people looking to break into a career in blockchain. I mean, where do you want to start there?
Sure. So this has been. I'll start out by a quick story. So in 2018, in early 2018, we blockchain driven wanted to do internship for a few people because we've been very busy and we want to do some internship. To see if we can get, basically we're getting involved more in events and we want to have a few more people. When we put out that internship a job posting, we got over 100 applications and we had 50 people show up at our door, literally.
Wow.
And half of them had 10 plus years of experience in other careers like finance or logistics or you name it. We literally had half of the people who were willing to take, this low-paid internship to and just kind of give up on their career. So, but the problem is that for a long time, no one was hiring because it was mostly development-focused positions in blockchain. But it has been really expanding lately. I would say in the last year, we have been seeing a lot more interest from large companies to start treating it as a real role, because now you can be a product management blockchain. Now you can be a project management blockchain. So it's no longer developer. And in
maturing.
fact,
so that as the projects are growing, they're getting bigger. It's maturing overall. So the supporting roles are needed, right? Am I wrong?
Absolutely, yeah. Like American Express, Facebook, you name it, Toyota. They're all looking at blockchain as a potential solution for parts of what they're doing or a large part of it. And for example, for us, blockchain driven, we've been so busy, we actually never had a time to focus on educating outside people. In our case, we always educating companies. Whenever we're onboarding a client or we're interacting with somebody who's interested in blockchain, we constantly have to educate. Even if they read something, generally it's fluffy. It's usually about price of crypto or Bitcoin or just very general understanding about, it's immutable or something that is really, if you dig deeper, it doesn't have a lot of meat. And it was constantly for us to be educating. And finally, we had a little time a few months ago when the COVID started to really pick up. We had a little bit more time to look, maybe we should do something such as an educational platform that actually gives people a hands-on experience from blockchain field and not theoretical, academic. There are universities, they do blockchain certification, but literally they don't know what blockchain is. It's a theory.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we advise, like I personally advise on blockchain IBM, a lab accelerator here in New York City. And we find that, lots of projects are very interesting, but there's still not a lot of information out there. And we constantly have to educate also those projects, what can be done, how it can be done, what limitations they're going to see, because technology is so new. So we recently decided to do blockchain academy. So it's based more on our experience in blockchain. And because I would say if you're looking to get in blockchain space, you definitely got to educate yourself. Because even though it's still growing, it's a competitive space. People want to join this new industry, and it's still competitive. So you want to stand out. You want to show that you understand how it works. You know how to, for example, make a smart contract, even if you're not a developer, because it will help you to interact. You're still going to be in some way interacting with development part. And even if you're a product manager, project manager, analyst, you need to understand the nitty-gritty of blockchain, because oftentimes people say, I heard about blockchain, but I really can't wrap my head around it. And yes, because to wrap your hand around it, you need to do something more immersive. For example, we're starting on May 11, and it's going to be a 7-week course, 3 times a week, because now people are at home. Generally, you don't have time to do changing your skill set, learning new skills.
Time to tool up. Time to tool up.
Yeah, like right now you time. You literally have it's a muscle. You gotta practice your muscle. And normally we go to restaurants, we go to events, we go do other things. You don't have time to actually focus on we say future-proof your career. Like, how do you get ready for the next stage in your career, or at least get ready for? Right now there's massive unemployment. What happens if you lose your job? It's because right now blockchain has been pretty resilient to this huge unemployment wave, because a lot of technology, they raised a lot of money and they're building out the projects, that will be launched in a year, 2 years. So a lot of the companies, Kraken, a very big exchange in blockchain, they're hiring 10%, increasing their workforce by 10%. They're hiring right now. And so there is a number of companies that are actually hiring right now, whereas in most industries, that they are the hiring freeze, or they are cutting away. But it still comes down to, are you just going to show up and say, hey, I want to get a job, but you don't know anything about blockchain hands-on? Or do you actually go out, learn something, and add a lot of value to the company?
That's awesome. So, Art, if first off, I can talk to you about this stuff all day long, but we're about out of time. So that being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on blockchain-driven, to learn more about either the learning program you have coming up or just to learn about your work in general, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Sure. So I would say, if you're looking to career or education in blockchain, go to blockdriven.com, blockdriven.com. And that's our academy page, so you can see all the details. If you're looking to build out a project on blockchain, go to blockchaindriven.com. So either one works, but if you're somebody who's looking to get into space and you go, okay, I like blockchain, but I don't know anything about it, then blockdriven.com is a good place to start.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Art, been great having you on the show today. Appreciate you giving some updates on what's going on in blockchain industry overall, and also on what people can do to break into a career. So thank you for that. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a review on the Apple iTunes store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave some comments on the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Art, thanks again for coming on the show.